Egypt, a land steeped in mystery and wonder where the echoes of ancient civilizations still whisper through the sands. This is a place where history and legend intertwine, creating a tapestry of stories that have fascinated humanity for thousands of years. Land of pharaohs and pyramids. The colossal structures that rise from the desert floor are not just monuments to the dead, but testaments to the ingenuity and ambition of a people who dared to dream beyond the horizon. A civilization that has captivated the world for millennia. From the intricate hieroglyphs that adorn temple walls to the majestic statues that guard sacred sites, every artifact tells a story of a society that valued knowledge, art, and spirituality. But before the grandeur of the pharaohs, before the towering pyramids pierced the sky, there was the Nile. This mighty river, stretching over 4,000 miles, is the longest in the world and has been the lifeline of Egypt since time immemorial. The lifeblood of Egypt, the Nile River, snakes its way through the arid landscape, a verdant ribbon against the golden sands. Its waters have sustained life in this harsh environment, providing not just hydration, but also the fertile soil necessary for agriculture. Each year, the river would rise, depositing fertile silt upon its banks, a gift from the heart of Africa. This annual inundation was eagerly anticipated by the ancient Egyptians, who relied on the nutrient-rich soil to grow their crops. This annual inundation, predictable and life-giving, was the foundation upon which Egyptian civilization would be built. It allowed for the cultivation of wheat, barley, and flax, which were essential for food, clothing, and trade. The Nile was more than just a source of water. It was a highway, a lifeline, a unifier. Its waters facilitated the movement of people and goods, enabling trade and communication between distant regions. Its currents carried boats laden with goods and people, connecting the north and south, fostering trade and communication. The river was a bustling artery of commerce, with markets and ports springing up along its banks. The river's rhythm dictated the pace of life, its floods marking the agricultural calendar, its bounty shaping the destiny of a nation. The ancient Egyptians developed a deep understanding of the river's cycles, which allowed them to plan their agricultural activities with precision. From the lush delta in the north, where the Nile fans out to meet the Mediterranean Sea, to the sun-drenched lands of Upper Egypt in the south, the river nurtured a civilization that would leave an indelible mark on human history. The Nile's influence extended beyond agriculture. It shaped the culture, religion, and daily life of the ancient Egyptians. The river was revered as a divine entity, with many temples and shrines dedicated to its deities. The god Hapi, personifying the Nile's inundation, was worshipped for bringing fertility and abundance to the land. The Nile's significance permeated every aspect of Egyptian life. It was depicted in art, celebrated in festivals, and immortalized in literature. The river was not just a physical presence, but a symbol of life, renewal, and continuity. Today, the Nile continues to be a source of fascination and inspiration. Modern-day explorers and tourists flock to its banks, eager to experience the timeless beauty and historical richness of this ancient waterway. As the sun sets over the Nile, casting a golden glow over its waters, one can't help but feel a connection to the countless generations that have lived and thrived along its shores. The river's legacy is a testament to the enduring power of nature and the resilience of human civilization. Museums around the world house artifacts that tell the story of the Nile's central role in Egyptian history. From pottery and tools to jewelry and statues, these items offer a glimpse into the daily lives and spiritual beliefs of the ancient Egyptians. The Nile's influence extends beyond the ancient world. Modern cities like Cairo and Luxor have grown along its banks, blending the old with the new. Bridges span its waters, connecting communities and facilitating the flow of people and ideas. Even today, the Nile remains a vital source of sustenance for millions. Farmers continue to rely on its waters for irrigation, using both ancient and modern techniques to cultivate their crops. The river's gift of fertility endures, supporting livelihoods and feeding nations. The Nile is also a haven for wildlife, providing a habitat for a diverse array of species. Birds, fish, and mammals thrive in its waters and along its banks, contributing to the rich biodiversity of the region. Fishermen have plied the Nile's waters for millennia, casting their nets and lines in search of sustenance. The river's bounty has fed countless generations, and its fish remain a staple in the diet of many Egyptians. The Nile's role as a transportation route continues to this day. Boats of all shapes and sizes navigate its waters, from traditional feluccas to modern vessels. The river remains a vital artery, connecting people and places in a way that has endured for thousands of years. As we journey along the Nile, we are reminded of the river's profound impact on the course of history. Its waters have witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the birth of religions, and the evolution of human society. The Nile is not just a river, it is a living testament to the enduring spirit of Egypt. In the quiet moments as the sun dips below the horizon and the river flows gently on, we can feel the timelessness of the Nile. It is a reminder that while civilizations may come and go, the natural world endures, shaping and sustaining life in ways that are both profound and humbling. The Nile's reflection in the water is a metaphor for its role in history. Just as the river mirrors the ruins of the past, it also reflects the hopes and dreams of the future. The Nile is a bridge between epochs, a constant in a world of change. The people who live along the Nile today are the inheritors of a rich legacy. They carry forward the traditions and knowledge of their ancestors, while also adapting to the challenges and opportunities of the modern world. The Nile continues to be a source of life, inspiration, and connection for all who dwell by its banks. The story of the Nile is one of continuity and change, of ancient wisdom and modern innovation. It is a story that reminds us of the enduring power of nature and the resilience of human civilization. As we look to the future, the Nile will continue to be a guiding force, shaping the destiny of Egypt and the world. As the sun rises over the Nile, heralding a new day, we are reminded of the river's eternal presence. It is a symbol of renewal and hope, a testament to the enduring spirit of life. The Nile, the gift of Egypt, will continue to inspire and sustain for generations to come. This division between black land and red land was more than just geographical. It was a profound dichotomy that shaped the very essence of Egyptian civilization. The ancient Egyptians referred to the fertile, life-giving land along the Nile as Kemet, or the Black Land, due to the rich, dark silt deposited by the river's annual floods. In stark contrast, the vast, arid expanses of the desert were known as Deshret, or the Red Land, characterized by its harsh, unforgiving environment. This stark contrast between the two landscapes was not merely a matter of physical geography, but was deeply embedded in the cultural, spiritual, and social fabric of ancient Egyptian life. The concept of duality permeated Egyptian thought and belief, influencing their mythology, religious practices, and daily life. Hieroglyphics, the sacred writing system of the Egyptians, often depicted this duality through symbols and stories. For instance, the god Osiris, associated with the Black Land, represented fertility, rebirth, and the afterlife, while his brother Set, linked to the Red Land, symbolized chaos, destruction, and the desert. These opposing forces were not seen as mutually exclusive, but as complementary aspects of a balanced universe. The Black Land, the fertile floodplains, represented life, abundance, and resurrection. It was the source of sustenance, the cradle of civilization. The annual inundation of the Nile, known as the Akhet, brought nutrient-rich silt that revitalized the soil, enabling the Egyptians to cultivate crops such as wheat, barley, and flax. This agricultural bounty supported a thriving society, allowing for the development of complex institutions, monumental architecture, and a rich cultural heritage. The Black Land was not only the physical foundation of Egyptian civilization, but also the spiritual heartland. It was here that the Egyptians built their homes, temples, and tombs, creating a landscape imbued with religious significance. The fields and villages along the Nile were seen as a reflection of the divine order, a microcosm of the cosmos, where humans and gods coexisted in harmony. The fertility of the Black Land was a tangible manifestation of the gods' favor, a sign that the cosmic balance was maintained. The Red Land, the arid desert, represented chaos, danger, and the afterlife. It was a place of mystery and fear, home to powerful deities and the spirits of the dead. The desert was seen as a realm of disorder, a stark contrast to the ordered, life-sustaining Black Land. Yet, it was also a place of spiritual significance, where the boundaries between the mortal world and the divine were blurred. The Egyptians believed that the desert was the domain of Set, the god of chaos and destruction, who embodied the untamed, unpredictable forces of nature. The desert was also the final resting place for the dead, a vast necropolis where tombs and burial sites were constructed to ensure safe passage to the afterlife. The Egyptians built elaborate tombs and pyramids in the desert, believing that the dry, arid conditions would preserve the bodies of the deceased for eternity. These tombs were adorned with intricate carvings, paintings, and inscriptions that depicted the journey of the soul through the underworld, guided by the gods and protected by magical spells. This duality, this constant interplay between opposing forces, is central to understanding ancient Egypt. The Egyptians saw the world as a delicate balance between order and chaos, creation and destruction, life and death. This worldview was reflected in their mythology, their art, and their daily practices. The concept of Ma'at, the principle of cosmic order and justice, was fundamental to Egyptian thought. Ma'at was personified as a goddess who regulated the stars, the seasons, and the actions of both mortals and deities. Maintaining Ma'at was essential for the stability and prosperity of the land. The Egyptians believed that life was a delicate balance between order and chaos, creation and destruction. This belief was embodied in their mythology, where gods and goddesses represented different aspects of the natural and supernatural world. For example, the sun god Ra journeyed through the underworld each night, battling the forces of chaos to be reborn at dawn. This daily cycle of death and rebirth symbolized the eternal struggle between light and darkness, order and disorder. The pharaoh, as the divine ruler, was tasked with maintaining this balance, ensuring the prosperity of the land and the appeasement of the gods. The pharaoh was seen as the earthly embodiment of Horus, the falcon-headed god of kingship and protection, and the successor of Osiris, the god of the afterlife. Through rituals, offerings, and monumental building projects, the pharaoh upheld Ma'at, reinforcing the cosmic order and securing the favor of the gods. The pharaoh's role was not only political, but also deeply spiritual, as he mediated between the human and divine realms. The Nile, while a source of life, was not without its own duality. Its floods, though essential for agriculture, could be unpredictable and destructive. The Egyptians closely observed the river's cycles, developing sophisticated methods to predict and manage the annual inundation. They built canals, dikes, and reservoirs to control the flow of water, ensuring that the fields received the right amount of moisture. However, the Nile's behavior was not always predictable, and the Egyptians had to contend with the ever-present threat of drought or excessive flooding. A low flood meant drought and famine, while an excessively high flood could wipe out entire villages. The Egyptians recorded the levels of the Nile's floods on stone inscriptions, creating a historical record that helped them understand the patterns and cycles of the river. This knowledge was crucial for planning agricultural activities and ensuring the survival of the population. The Nile's dual nature as both a giver and taker of life reinforced the Egyptians' belief in the importance of balance and harmony. This precarious balance between bounty and disaster fostered a deep reverence for the river and its power. The Egyptians personified the Nile as the god Hapi, a benevolent deity who brought fertility and abundance. Hapi was often depicted as a plump, androgynous figure with blue or green skin, symbolizing the life-giving waters of the river. Festivals and rituals were held in Hapi's honor, celebrating the annual flood and giving thanks for the bountiful harvest it brought. The Nile was not just a physical feature of the landscape, but a central element of Egyptian spirituality and identity. The Egyptians' relationship with the Nile was one of both dependence and respect. They understood that their survival and prosperity were inextricably linked to the river's cycles, and they developed a deep knowledge of its behavior. This understanding was reflected in their art, literature, and religious practices, which often depicted the Nile as a source of life and a symbol of the god's favor. The river was seen as a bridge between the earthly and divine realms, a conduit through which the blessings of the gods flowed into the world. The Nile's importance extended beyond agriculture and spirituality. It was also a vital transportation route, facilitating trade and communication between different regions of Egypt. Boats and barges traveled up and down the river, carrying goods, people, and ideas. The Nile connected the various parts of the kingdom, creating a sense of unity and cohesion. The river's role as a highway of commerce and culture further underscored its central place in Egyptian life. The Egyptians personified the Nile as the god Hapi, a benevolent deity who brought fertility and abundance. Hapi was often depicted as a plump, androgynous figure with blue or green skin, symbolizing the life-giving waters of the river. Festivals and rituals were held in Hapi's honor, celebrating the annual flood and giving thanks for the bountiful harvests it brought. The Nile was not just a physical feature of the landscape, but a central element of Egyptian spirituality and identity. But the Nile was merely one aspect of a complex ecosystem. The Egyptians lived in harmony with nature, observing its rhythms and adapting to its challenges. They developed a deep understanding of the natural world, recognizing the interconnectedness of all living things. This holistic view of the environment was reflected in their agricultural practices, religious beliefs, and artistic expressions. The Egyptians saw themselves as part of a larger cosmic order, where every element had its place and purpose. The Egyptians lived in harmony with nature, observing its rhythms and adapting to its challenges. They learned to predict the floods, to irrigate their crops, to harness the power of the wind for transportation. They developed sophisticated techniques for farming, building, and managing resources, ensuring that they could thrive in a challenging environment. This adaptability and ingenuity were key to their success as a civilization, allowing them to create a lasting legacy that continues to inspire and fascinate us today. They learned to predict the floods, to irrigate their crops, to harness the power of the wind for transportation. The Egyptians' knowledge of engineering and hydrology was advanced for their time, enabling them to construct impressive structures, such as the pyramids, temples, and irrigation systems. These achievements were not only practical but also symbolic, reflecting their belief in the harmony between human ingenuity and the natural world. The Egyptians saw their technological and artistic accomplishments as expressions of Ma'at, the cosmic order that governed all aspects of life. They developed a deep understanding of astronomy, charting the movements of the stars and using them to guide their lives. The Egyptians' knowledge of the heavens was closely linked to their religious beliefs, as they saw the stars and planets as manifestations of the gods. They built observatories and temples aligned with celestial events, using their observations to create calendars, predict seasonal changes, and plan agricultural activities. This astronomical knowledge was a testament to their intellectual curiosity and their desire to understand the universe. Theirs was a civilization intimately connected to the natural world, its fate inextricably intertwined with the ebb and flow of the Nile and the whims of the desert. The Egyptians' deep respect for nature and their ability to adapt to its challenges were key to their enduring success. Their legacy is a testament to the power of human ingenuity, resilience, and the timeless quest for harmony and balance in a world of dualities. As the centuries passed, small agricultural communities began to dot the Nile Valley, drawn to the promise of fertile land and abundant resources. The Nile River, with its predictable flooding cycles, provided a reliable source of water and nutrient-rich silt, making the surrounding land incredibly fertile. This natural bounty attracted early settlers who were eager to cultivate the land and establish a stable food supply. These settlers were not just farmers. They were pioneers who laid the groundwork for one of the most remarkable civilizations in human history. These early Egyptians, skilled farmers and artisans, lived in villages built from mud brick, cultivating crops like barley, wheat, and flax. Their agricultural practices were advanced for their time, involving the use of simple tools and techniques that maximized their yield. They understood the importance of crop rotation and irrigation, ensuring that their fields remained productive year after year. The surplus food they produced allowed them to support larger communities and engage in other activities beyond mere subsistence. They domesticated animals, including cattle, sheep, and goats, providing them with meat, milk, and wool. These animals were not just sources of food, they were integral to the agricultural economy. Cattle were used to plow fields, sheep provided wool for clothing, and goats offered milk and meat. The domestication of these animals marked a significant step in the development of a complex society, as it allowed for more efficient farming and a more varied diet. They crafted pottery, wove textiles, and fashioned tools from stone and copper. Pottery was essential for storing food and water, while textiles were used for clothing and trade. The tools they created from stone and copper were used in agriculture, construction, and daily life. These crafts were not just practical. they were also artistic expressions that reflected the culture and values of the community. The intricate designs on their pottery and textiles reveal a deep appreciation for beauty and craftsmanship. These scattered communities, though geographically close, were independent and distinct, each with its own customs, beliefs, and rulers. The Nile Valley was a mosaic of small, self-sufficient villages, each with its own identity. These communities were often isolated from one another by natural barriers such as deserts and mountains, leading to a diversity of cultures and traditions. Despite their differences, they shared a common reliance on the Nile River, which served as a lifeline for all. Over time, however, a shared culture began to emerge, a tapestry woven from common experiences and a shared dependence on the Nile. The river was not just a source of sustenance. It was a conduit for communication and trade. As people traveled along the Nile, they exchanged goods, ideas, and customs, gradually knitting together a more cohesive society. This cultural exchange was facilitated by the development of trade networks that connected distant villages and allowed for the flow of goods and information. They worshipped similar gods, spoke a common language, and engaged in trade and cultural exchange. Religion played a central role in uniting these communities. The pantheon of gods and goddesses they worshipped reflected their understanding of the natural world and their place within it. Temples and religious rituals became focal points for communal life, reinforcing a shared sense of identity and purpose. The development of a common language further facilitated communication and cooperation, laying the groundwork for a unified state. This nascent sense of unity, fostered by the river that connected them, would ultimately pave the way for the emergence of a unified Egypt. The Nile River was the thread that wove together the fabric of Egyptian society. It enabled the movement of people and goods, fostering economic and social integration. As villages grew into towns and towns into cities, the need for a centralized authority became increasingly apparent. The river, with its life-giving waters, was the catalyst for this transformation, turning a collection of disparate communities into a cohesive civilization. The emergence of powerful leaders, individuals who commanded respect and authority, further accelerated this process of unification. These leaders, often seen as divine or semi-divine figures, played a crucial role in consolidating power and establishing order. They were not just political figures. They were also military leaders, religious authorities, and cultural icons. Their ability to inspire loyalty and command resources allowed them to build the foundations of a centralized state. These proto-pharaohs, often skilled warriors or charismatic visionaries, began to consolidate their power, uniting neighboring villages under their rule through diplomacy, alliances, or conquest. Their leadership was marked by both strategic acumen and a vision for a unified Egypt. They forged alliances through marriage, negotiated treaties, and when necessary, resorted to military force to achieve their goals. This period of consolidation was marked by both cooperation and conflict, as leaders vied for control over the fertile lands and resources of the Nile Valley. As their influence grew, so too did their ambition, each striving to expand their domain to control the fertile lands and resources of the Nile Valley. The quest for power and territory drove these leaders to push the boundaries of their influence, leading to the formation of larger political entities. This expansion was not just about acquiring land. It was also about securing resources, trade routes, and strategic advantages. The Nile Valley, with its rich agricultural potential and central location, was the prize that everyone sought to control. This period of consolidation, while marked by conflict and competition, was also a time of great innovation and cultural development. The drive to unify and expand led to advancements in various fields, from architecture and engineering to art and literature. The construction of monumental structures, such as temples and tombs, showcased the architectural prowess of the Egyptians. Innovations in writing and record-keeping allowed for the documentation of history, laws, and religious texts, preserving the legacy of this remarkable civilization. The Egyptians made significant strides in agriculture, developing sophisticated irrigation techniques that allowed them to cultivate more land and increase their yields. They constructed canals, dikes, and reservoirs to manage the flow of water from the Nile, ensuring that their fields received the necessary moisture. These innovations not only boosted agricultural productivity, but also supported a growing population. The ability to produce surplus food was a key factor in the rise of urban centers and the development of a complex society. they refined their skills in pottery, weaving, and metalworking, producing objects of increasing beauty and complexity. The craftsmanship of the Egyptians was renowned, with artisans creating intricate pottery, finely woven textiles, and expertly crafted metal tools and ornaments. These objects were not only functional, but also served as symbols of status and wealth. The artistic achievements of this period reflect a society that valued creativity and innovation, laying the groundwork for the rich cultural heritage that Egypt is known for today. They developed a system of hieroglyphic writing, a pivotal moment that allowed them to record their history, beliefs, and dreams for posterity. The invention of writing was a transformative development, enabling the Egyptians to communicate complex ideas, maintain administrative records, and preserve their cultural and religious traditions. Scribes, who were highly respected members of society, played a crucial role in this process. Their work ensured that the achievements and wisdom of the ancient Egyptians would be passed down through the generations, leaving an indelible mark on human history. Section 4. The Dawn of Dynasty. By the dawn of the early dynastic period, around 3100 BCE, Egypt stood on the cusp of greatness. This was a time of profound transformation, where the seeds of a mighty civilization were being sown along the fertile banks of the Nile River. The river, with its life-giving waters, was the lifeblood of the land, nurturing the soil and the people who depended on it. The annual inundation of the Nile brought not only water, but also rich silt that made the land incredibly fertile, allowing agriculture to flourish. This abundance of resources laid the foundation for the rise of a complex society, one that would eventually become one of the most iconic civilizations in human history. Two powerful kingdoms had emerged, each vying for supremacy. Upper Egypt in the south, symbolized by the white crown, and Lower Egypt in the north, represented by the red crown. These two regions, though part of the same geographical entity, were culturally and politically distinct. Upper Egypt, with its rugged terrain and narrow strip of arable land, was home to a people who were fiercely independent and proud of their heritage. Lower Egypt, on the other hand, with its wide delta and access to the Mediterranean Sea, was a hub of trade and cultural exchange. The rivalry between these two regions was not just a struggle for political dominance, but also a clash of cultures and ideologies. The red crown of Lower Egypt was a symbol of the region's unique identity and its aspirations for autonomy. The people of Lower Egypt had developed a distinct culture, influenced by their interactions with neighboring civilizations. They were known for their craftsmanship, their trade networks, and their sophisticated urban centers. The red crown was more than just a piece of regalia. It was a representation of the region's pride and its desire to maintain its independence in the face of external pressures. The stage was set for a clash of titans, a struggle for control of the Nile, and the destiny of a nation. The conflict between Upper and Lower Egypt was not just a series of battles, but a prolonged period of tension and competition. Each side sought to assert its dominance through military might, strategic alliances, and displays of wealth and power. The outcome of this struggle would determine the future of Egypt and set the course for its development as a unified state. Legend tells of a mighty warrior king named Menes, who rose to power in Upper Egypt. Menes, also known as Narmer in some accounts, is often credited with the unification of Egypt. He is depicted as a formidable leader, a visionary who saw the potential of a united Egypt and was determined to make it a reality. His story is one of ambition, courage, and relentless pursuit of a dream that would change the course of history. With a fierce determination to unite the two lands, he led his armies north, conquering Lower Egypt. The campaigns of Menes were marked by strategic brilliance and sheer force of will. He understood that the unification of Egypt required not just military victories, but also the integration of diverse cultures and the establishment of a centralized administration. His conquests were not just about subjugation, but about creating a cohesive and stable state, and establishing himself as the first pharaoh of a unified Egypt. The title of pharaoh was more than just a political designation. It was a symbol of divine authority and the embodiment of the nation's unity. Menes, as the first pharaoh, set the precedent for the role of the king in Egyptian society. He was not just a ruler, but a living god, a mediator between the people and the divine, responsible for maintaining order and harmony in the land. While the historical accuracy of Menes is debated, with some scholars believing him to be a composite figure or a later invention. The unification of Egypt under a single ruler is an undeniable historical fact. The process of unification, whether achieved by Menes or through a series of events, marked a significant turning point in Egyptian history. It laid the foundation for the development of a centralized state, with a strong and stable government that could oversee the administration of the entire country. The unification of Egypt was not just a political achievement, but also a cultural and ideological one. It brought together diverse communities, each with its own traditions and beliefs, and created a shared identity that would define the Egyptian civilization for millennia. The pharaohs, as the supreme rulers, played a crucial role in fostering this sense of unity and continuity. They were seen as the guarantors of Ma'at, the cosmic order that underpinned all aspects of Egyptian life. The unification of Egypt under a single ruler is an undeniable historical fact. This unification, whether achieved through a single decisive victory or a more gradual process of integration, marked a turning point in Egyptian history. The establishment of the First Dynasty heralded the dawn of a new era, an era of unprecedented stability, prosperity, and cultural achievement. The pharaoh, a living god-king, became the supreme ruler of the two lands, his authority absolute and unquestioned. The pharaoh's role was not just limited to governance. He was also the religious leader, the high priest of every temple, and the chief architect of the nation's cultural and spiritual life. His divine status was reinforced through elaborate rituals, monumental architecture, and the creation of a state ideology that emphasized the pharaoh's central role in maintaining cosmic order. The pharaoh's authority extended to every aspect of life, from the administration of justice to the organization of labor and the distribution of resources. The unification of Egypt also had significant economic implications. The centralized administration allowed for more efficient management of resources, the development of large-scale agricultural projects, and the establishment of trade networks that extended far beyond the borders of Egypt. The wealth generated from these activities was used to fund monumental building projects, support the arts, and maintain a standing army that could defend the nation from external threats. The pharaoh, a living god-king, became the supreme ruler of the two lands, his authority absolute and unquestioned. He controlled the army, the administration, and the religious life of the nation. He was the embodiment of Ma'at, the cosmic order upon which Egyptian civilization was founded. The establishment of the First Dynasty heralded the dawn of a new era, an era of unprecedented stability, prosperity, and cultural achievement. The pharaoh's role as the embodiment of Ma'at was central to his authority. Ma'at represented truth, justice, and the cosmic order, and it was the pharaoh's duty to uphold these principles in all aspects of governance. This responsibility was reflected in the legal system, the administration of the state, and the conduct of foreign policy. The pharaoh's ability to maintain Ma'at was seen as essential to the well-being of the nation and the favor of the gods. He controlled the army, the administration, and the religious life of the nation. The pharaoh's control over the military was crucial for maintaining internal stability and defending the nation from external threats. The army was not just a fighting force, but also a tool for enforcing the pharaoh's authority and implementing his policies. The administration, on the other hand, was responsible for the day-to-day running of the state, from collecting taxes to overseeing public works projects. The religious life of the nation was also under the pharaoh's control, with the king acting as the chief priest and the intermediary between the gods and the people. He was the embodiment of Ma'at, the cosmic order upon which Egyptian civilization was founded. The concept of Ma'at was central to Egyptian thought and permeated every aspect of life. It was the principle that ensured harmony and balance in the universe, and it was the pharaoh's duty to uphold it. This responsibility was reflected in the legal system, the administration of the state, and the conduct of foreign policy. The pharaoh's ability to maintain Ma'at was seen as essential to the well-being of the nation and the favor of the gods. The establishment of the First Dynasty heralded the dawn of a new era, an era of unprecedented stability, prosperity, and cultural achievement. With the threat of internal conflict diminished, the pharaohs could focus their energies on consolidating their power, expanding their borders, and constructing monumental tombs and temples that would serve as lasting symbols of their reign and their divine status. the stage was set for the rise of a civilization that would leave an indelible mark on human history. The First Dynasty marked the beginning of a period of remarkable achievements in art, architecture, and culture. The pharaohs of this era commissioned the construction of grand palaces, temples, and tombs, many of which have survived to this day as testaments to their vision and ambition. These structures were not just functional buildings, but also symbols of the pharaoh's divine authority and the unity of the nation. The art and architecture of this period were characterized by a high degree of sophistication and a deep sense of spirituality, reflecting the values and beliefs of the Egyptian people. With the threat of internal conflict diminished, the pharaohs could focus their energies on consolidating their power, expanding their borders, and constructing monumental tombs and temples that would serve as lasting symbols of their reign and their divine status. The stage was set for the rise of a civilization that would leave an indelible mark on human history. The First Dynasty marked the beginning of a period of remarkable achievements in art, architecture, and culture. The pharaohs of this era commissioned the construction of grand palaces, temples, and tombs, many of which have survived to this day, as testaments to their vision and ambition. The pharaohs also focused on expanding their borders and establishing Egypt as a dominant power in the region. They launched military campaigns to secure Egypt's frontiers and to gain control over valuable resources and trade routes. These campaigns not only increased Egypt's wealth and influence, but also helped to spread Egyptian culture and ideas to neighboring regions. The pharaoh's ability to project power beyond their borders was a key factor in the stability and prosperity of the nation. The construction of monumental tombs and temples was a major focus of the pharaoh's efforts. These structures were not just places of worship or burial, but also symbols of the pharaoh's divine status and the unity of the nation. The tombs in particular were designed to ensure the pharaoh's safe passage to the afterlife and to provide a lasting legacy for future generations. The temples, on the other hand, were centers of religious and cultural life, where the pharaohs could demonstrate their piety and their commitment to maintaining Ma'at. The stage was set for the rise of a civilization that would leave an indelible mark on human history. The achievements of the First Dynasty laid the foundation for the development of one of the most remarkable civilizations in human history. The pharaoh's vision, ambition, and commitment to maintaining Ma'at ensured the stability and prosperity of the nation for centuries to come. The legacy of the First Dynasty can still be seen today in the art, architecture, and culture of Egypt, a testament to the enduring impact of this remarkable period in history. Section 5. Echoes in Stone and Gold. In the heart of the Egyptian desert, where the golden sands stretch endlessly under the blazing sun, lies a civilization that has fascinated humanity for millennia. The Great Sphinx of Giza, with its enigmatic smile and the towering pyramids in the background, stand as silent sentinels of a bygone era. These monumental structures, built with precision and purpose, have withstood the test of time, weathering the elements and the passage of centuries. They are not just architectural marvels. They are the echoes of a civilization that once thrived along the banks of the Nile River. From the fertile banks of the Nile, where life flourished and the land was bountiful, to the unforgiving sands of the desert, where the harsh environment tested the resilience of its inhabitants, the story of ancient Egypt is one of contrasts and contradictions. The Nile, often referred to as the lifeblood of Egypt, provided sustenance and a means of transportation, enabling the civilization to grow and prosper. Its annual floods deposited rich silt on the land, making it one of the most fertile regions in the ancient world. The river was not just a source of life, it was a symbol of the cyclical nature of existence, a reminder of the eternal flow of time. To the unforgiving sands of the desert, where the relentless sun beats down and the wind whispers secrets of the past, the echoes of this ancient civilization resonate through time. The desert, with its vast emptiness and stark beauty, was both a barrier and a protector. It shielded the civilization from invaders and preserved its monuments and artifacts for future generations to discover. The pyramids, rising majestically from the desert floor, are a testament to the ingenuity and determination of the ancient Egyptians. They are not just tombs. They are symbols of a quest for immortality, a desire to transcend the limitations of the mortal world. The echoes of this ancient civilization resonate through time, carried on the winds and etched into the stones. The pyramids, with their precise alignment to the cardinal points and their intricate internal structures, are a marvel of engineering and a testament to the advanced knowledge of the ancient Egyptians. They were built not just as tombs for the pharaohs, but as monuments to their power and divinity. The construction of these colossal structures required a deep understanding of mathematics, astronomy, and engineering, as well as the labor of thousands of workers. The pyramids are a testament to the organizational skills and the vision of the ancient Egyptians, who were able to mobilize and coordinate such a massive workforce. The colossal pyramids, sentinels of the ages, stand as enduring testaments to the pharaoh's power and the Egyptians' mastery of engineering and astronomy. These monumental structures were built with a precision that is still admired today. The Great Pyramid of Giza, the largest of the three pyramids, was originally covered in smooth white limestone, which reflected the sun's rays and made it shine like a beacon. It was the tallest man-made structure in the world for over 3,800 years, a testament to the ingenuity and skill of its builders. The pyramids were not just tombs, they were symbols of the pharaoh's divine right to rule and their connection to the gods, stand as enduring testaments to the pharaoh's power and the Egyptians' mastery of engineering and astronomy. The pharaohs were considered to be gods on earth, and their rule was seen as a continuation of the divine order. The construction of the pyramids was a way to ensure their immortality and to demonstrate their power and authority. The statues of the pharaohs, with their serene expressions and regal postures, are a reminder of the divine nature of their rule. These statues were often placed in temples and tombs, where they served as a focal point for worship and a reminder of the pharaoh's divine status, and the Egyptians' mastery of engineering and astronomy. The ancient Egyptians were skilled astronomers, and their knowledge of the stars was used to align their monuments and to create a calendar that was remarkably accurate. The hieroglyphs, which adorn the walls of temples and tombs, are a testament to their advanced understanding of writing and communication. These intricate symbols were used to record the deeds of the pharaohs, to tell stories of the gods, and to convey important information about the workings of the universe. The hieroglyphs are a window into the minds of the ancient Egyptians, revealing their beliefs, their values, and their understanding of the world around them. Within their labyrinthine chambers and hidden passages lie the secrets of a civilization obsessed with death and the promise of eternal life. The pyramids were designed to protect the pharaohs' bodies and their treasures from tomb robbers, and their complex internal structures were meant to confuse and deter intruders. The narrow passages and hidden chambers were filled with traps and false doors, creating a maze that only the most determined and knowledgeable could navigate. The walls of these chambers are covered with hieroglyphs and paintings that tell the story of the pharaoh's journey to the afterlife. A journey that was believed to be fraught with dangers and challenges. Lie the secrets of a civilization obsessed with death and the promise of eternal life. The ancient Egyptians believed that death was not the end, but a transition to a new existence. They believed that the soul would continue to live on in the afterlife, and that it was important to prepare for this journey. The burial rituals and the construction of the tombs were designed to ensure that the pharaohs would be able to navigate the afterlife and achieve eternal life. The hieroglyphs and paintings that adorn the walls of the tombs are a guide to this journey, providing instructions and spells to help the pharaohs overcome the challenges they would face, and the promise of eternal life. The sarcophagi, which housed the mummified bodies of the pharaohs, were often elaborately decorated with scenes from the afterlife and inscriptions that invoked the protection of the gods. These sarcophagi were placed in the innermost chambers of the tombs, surrounded by treasures and offerings that were meant to provide for the pharaohs in the afterlife. The tombs were filled with everything the pharaohs might need, from food and clothing to furniture and jewelry. These items were carefully chosen and placed in the tombs to ensure that the pharaohs would be able to live comfortably in the afterlife. Step inside the shadowy interiors of these monumental tombs, and you are transported back in time. The air is thick with the scent of incense, and the weight of centuries presses down on you. The walls are covered with hieroglyphs and paintings that tell the story of a civilization that was obsessed with death and the afterlife. The dim lighting and the narrow passages create an atmosphere of mystery and awe as you walk in the footsteps of the ancient Egyptians and explore the secrets of their tombs, and you are transported back in time, Hieroglyphs, intricate and enigmatic, dance across the walls, recounting the pharaoh's deeds, their lineage, and their journey to the afterlife. These symbols are a testament to the advanced understanding of writing and communication that the ancient Egyptians possessed. The hieroglyphs were used to record important events, to tell stories, and to convey religious and philosophical ideas. They are a window into the minds of the ancient Egyptians, revealing their beliefs, their values, and their understanding of the world around them. Dance across the walls, recounting the pharaoh's deeds, their lineage, and their journey to the afterlife. The hieroglyphs are a testament to the advanced understanding of writing and communication that the ancient Egyptians possessed. They were used to record important events, to tell stories, and to convey religious and philosophical ideas. The hieroglyphs are a window into the minds of the ancient Egyptians, revealing their beliefs, their values, and their understanding of the world around them, their journey to the afterlife. The paintings and reliefs that adorn the walls of the tombs are a testament to the artistic skill and the religious beliefs of the ancient Egyptians. These images depict scenes from the afterlife, showing the pharaohs as they navigate the challenges and dangers of the underworld. The paintings are filled with symbols and motifs that convey important religious and philosophical ideas, and they provide a glimpse into the beliefs and values of the ancient Egyptians. Vivid paintings and reliefs depict scenes from everyday life: farmers tending their fields, artisans crafting their wares, musicians entertaining noble courts. These images provide a glimpse into the daily lives of the ancient Egyptians, showing the activities and the people that made up their society. The paintings are filled with details that reveal the customs, the clothing, and the tools of the ancient Egyptians, providing a rich and vivid picture of their world. The air is thick with the scent of incense and the weight of centuries. The tombs were filled with offerings and treasures that were meant to provide for the pharaohs in the afterlife. The scent of incense, which was used in religious ceremonies and as an offering to the gods, fills the air, creating an atmosphere of mystery and reverence. The treasures that were placed in the tombs, from gold and jewelry to furniture and clothing, provide a glimpse into the wealth and the sophistication of the ancient Egyptians, and the weight of centuries. Gold glints seductively, illuminating the darkness, a symbol of the pharaoh's divinity and their connection to the sun god Ra. The treasures that were placed in the tombs were not just symbols of wealth. They were symbols of the pharaoh's divine status and their connection to the gods. The gold artifacts, which were often elaborately decorated with scenes from the afterlife and inscriptions that invoked the protection of the gods, were meant to ensure that the pharaohs would be able to navigate the afterlife and achieve eternal life, a symbol of the pharaoh's divinity and their connection to the sun god Ra. The golden masks that were placed over the faces of the mummified pharaohs were meant to ensure that their souls would be able to recognize their bodies in the afterlife. These masks, which were often elaborately decorated with scenes from the afterlife and inscriptions that invoked the protection of the gods, were a symbol of the pharaoh's divine status and their connection to the gods. The most famous of these masks is the mask of Tutankhamun, which is a masterpiece of ancient Egyptian art and a symbol of the wealth and the sophistication of the ancient Egyptians and their connection to the sun god Ra. The sun was a powerful symbol of ancient Egyptian religion, representing the cycle of death and rebirth. The pharaohs were believed to be the sons of Ra, and their rule was seen as a continuation of the divine rule. The sun was also a symbol of the pharaohs' power and authority, and their connection to the gods. The golden artifacts that were placed in the tombs were meant to ensure that the pharaohs would be able to navigate the afterlife and achieve eternal life. Precious objects, buried with the deceased to accompany them on their journey to the afterlife, offer a tantalizing glimpse into a world of luxury and refinement. The treasures that were placed in the tombs were not just symbols of wealth. They were symbols of the pharaoh's divine status and their connection to the gods. The gold artifacts, which were often elaborately decorated with scenes from the afterlife and inscriptions that invoked the protection of the gods, were meant to ensure that the pharaohs would be able to navigate the afterlife and achieve eternal life. To accompany them on their journey to the afterlife, offer a tantalizing glimpse into a world of luxury and refinement. The treasures that were placed in the tombs were not just symbols of wealth. They were symbols of the pharaoh's divine status and their connection to the gods. The gold artifacts, which were often elaborately decorated with scenes from the afterlife and inscriptions that invoked the protection of the gods, were meant to ensure that the pharaohs would be able to navigate the afterlife and achieve eternal life. Offer a tantalizing glimpse into a world of luxury and refinement. The treasures that were placed in the tombs were not just symbols of wealth, they were symbols of the pharaoh's divine status and their connection to the gods. The gold artifacts, which were often elaborately decorated with scenes from the afterlife and inscriptions that invoke the protection of the gods, were meant to ensure that the pharaohs would be able to navigate the afterlife and achieve eternal life. But the legacy of ancient Egypt extends far beyond its monumental architecture and glittering treasures. The influence of this ancient civilization can be seen in many aspects of modern life, from art and architecture to religion and philosophy. The ancient Egyptians were pioneers in many fields, and their contributions have had a lasting impact on the world. Their quest for knowledge and their sophisticated understanding of mathematics, astronomy, and medicine laid the groundwork for future scientific advancements. Their belief in justice, balance, and the rule of law continues to shape our own legal and ethical systems. Its monumental architecture and glittering treasures. The influence of this ancient civilization can be seen in many aspects of modern life, from art and architecture to religion and philosophy. The ancient Egyptians were pioneers in many fields, and their contributions have had a lasting impact on the world. Their quest for knowledge and their sophisticated understanding of mathematics, astronomy, and medicine laid the groundwork for future scientific advancements. Their belief in justice, balance, and the rule of law continues to shape our own legal and ethical systems. It is woven into the very fabric of Western civilization, its influence felt in art, architecture, religion, and philosophy. The ancient Egyptians were pioneers in many fields, and their contributions have had a lasting impact on the world. Their quest for knowledge and their sophisticated understanding of mathematics, astronomy, and medicine laid the groundwork for future scientific advancements. Their belief in justice, balance, and the rule of law continues to shape our own legal and ethical systems. Its influence felt in art, architecture, religion, Section 6. A Legacy Unveiled. The story of ancient Egypt is a story of human ingenuity, ambition, and resilience. It is a tale that spans millennia, from the earliest settlements along the Nile River to the grandeur of the New Kingdom and beyond. The civilization of ancient Egypt is one of the most fascinating and enduring in human history, marked by its monumental architecture, sophisticated art, and complex social structure. The Egyptians were pioneers in many fields, including engineering, medicine, and astronomy. Their achievements continue to influence and inspire us today. It is a story of a civilization that rose from humble beginnings to conquer an empire, that grappled with the mysteries of life and death, that left an enduring legacy that continues to captivate and inspire us today. The Egyptians built some of the most iconic structures in the world, including the Great Pyramids of Giza and the Sphinx. These monuments are not just architectural marvels, they are symbols of the Egyptians' quest for immortality and their belief in the afterlife. The pyramids, in particular, were built as tombs for the pharaohs, who were considered gods on earth. The construction of these massive structures required a high level of organization and resources, reflecting the power and wealth of the Egyptian state. But to truly understand this ancient civilization, we must delve deeper, beyond the familiar images of pyramids and pharaohs, and explore the historical forces that shaped its destiny. We must look at the geography of Egypt, which played a crucial role in its development. The Nile River, with its annual floods, provided fertile land for agriculture, which was the backbone of the Egyptian economy. The river also served as a major transportation route, facilitating trade and communication. The deserts surrounding the Nile acted as natural barriers, protecting Egypt from invasions and allowing it to develop a unique culture relatively undisturbed. We must journey back in time to the banks of the Nile, to the dawn of Egyptian civilization, and witness the rise of the pharaohs, the construction of the pyramids, the flourishing of art, culture, and technology. The early Egyptians were skilled farmers, using the Nile's floods to irrigate their crops. They developed a calendar to predict the flooding and built canals and reservoirs to manage the water. As their society became more complex, they began to build cities and develop a centralized government. The unification of Upper and Lower Egypt, around 3100 BCE, marked the beginning of the dynastic period, during which the pharaohs ruled as absolute monarchs. We must explore the lives of the people, from the mighty pharaohs who ruled as gods on earth to the humble farmers who toiled under the scorching sun. The pharaohs were at the top of the social hierarchy, followed by the nobles, priests, and scribes. The majority of the population were farmers who worked the land and paid taxes in the form of crops. Despite their hard lives, the farmers played a crucial role in the economy and were respected for their contribution to society. The Egyptians believed in an afterlife, and they spent much of their lives preparing for it. They built elaborate tombs and filled them with goods they would need in the next world. The process of mummification was developed to preserve the body for the afterlife, and the tombs were decorated with scenes of daily life and religious rituals. We must unravel the mysteries of their religion, their beliefs about the afterlife, their intricate rituals and ceremonies. The Egyptians worshipped a pantheon of gods and goddesses, each associated with different aspects of life and nature. The most important gods included Ra, the sun god, Osiris, the god of the afterlife, and Isis, the goddess of magic and motherhood. The pharaoh was considered the living embodiment of the god Horus and was responsible for maintaining Ma'at, or cosmic order. Religious ceremonies were an integral part of daily life, and the temples were the centers of religious and economic activity. The priests performed rituals to honor the gods and ensure the prosperity of the land. The Egyptians also believed in magic and used amulets and spells to protect themselves from harm. We must examine the factors that led to their decline, the internal strife, the external threats, the environmental changes that ultimately brought about the fall of this once mighty empire. The New Kingdom, which lasted from around 1550 to 1070 BCE, was a period of great prosperity and expansion. The pharaohs of this period, such as Hatshepsut, Thutmose III, and Ramses II, built magnificent temples and monuments and extended Egypt's influence through military campaigns. However, the empire eventually began to decline due to a combination of factors. Internal strife, such as power struggles and corruption, weakened the central government. External threats, including invasions by the Sea Peoples and the Assyrians, further destabilized the empire. Environmental changes, such as droughts and the decline of the Nile's floods, also contributed to the decline. By the time of the late period, Egypt had become a shadow of its former self, and it was eventually conquered by Alexander the Great in 332 BCE. Join us now as we embark on a journey through time, a captivating exploration of the rise and fall of ancient Egypt, a civilization that continues to enthrall and inspire us millennia after its golden age has passed. We will visit the iconic landmarks such as the pyramids of Giza, the temples of Luxor and Karnak, and the tombs of the Valley of the Kings. We will meet the great pharaohs, such as Tutankhamun, whose tomb was discovered almost intact in 1922, and Cleopatra, the last pharaoh of Egypt, who became famous for her relationships with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. We will explore the daily lives of the ordinary Egyptians, their homes, their work, and their leisure activities. We will also look at the legacy of ancient Egypt, how its art, architecture, and ideas have influenced other cultures and continue to inspire us today. From the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt to the reign of Cleopatra, we will uncover the secrets of this ancient land, exploring its art, architecture, religion, and its enduring legacy on the world we know today. The story of ancient Egypt is not just a story of the past. It is a story that continues to unfold as new discoveries are made and new insights are gained. The work of archaeologists and historians is constantly adding to our understanding of this remarkable civilization. So let us embark on this journey together to uncover the mysteries of ancient Egypt and to celebrate its enduring legacy.